Hi, I'm Liana. I live here at the Mondrian with my partner Troy and my 5.5-year-old son Charlie. Back in 2002, prior to the building being built, we were searching for an apartment that was close to the city and to Mascot. A lot of research went into the area, and then whilst doing that we also looked into who was the architect behind the building and also the builder who was doing the project.
Mondrian is located in the Green Square Master Plan, and the Green Square was a very important urban renewal project in Sydney. St Heliers were both the developer and the builder, and as a consequence we were able to develop and mature the design as the design went to site. The architect is really an advocate for the owner, and that's before the owner gets involved. And design quality comes about firstly through having a very good developer and builder involved in the project with the architect, and the architect having a very good relationship, and we certainly had that with Mondrian. At the same time, it's also very important to have proper criteria. There's an excellent document in New South Wales, which is the CEP 65 Residential Flat Design Code, which underpins good design, and certainly Mondrian exemplifies the achievement of the design guidelines of CEP 65.
When we initially purchased the apartment, our priorities then were our proximity to our work commitments, also what we could do on a Friday and Saturday night within walking distance and not having to worry about catching a taxi or a train or driving somewhere. And then a few years later we had a child, and then our priorities changed into a different direction. Living where we were came up stumps. We had great schools within a 5-10 minute driving distance from here. We've got Waterloo Oval across the road. We have a skateboard park, so as much as Charlie doesn't have a private backyard, he has a huge backyard. You know, my favourite place is sitting out on the balcony at about between 11 and 2 o'clock to have a cup of tea, because I get the afternoon sun there, and Charlie is freely playing anywhere inside the house. We have a beautiful tree that's out in the front of us, so we don't actually look like we're living in an apartment, and when people come inside our unit or our apartment, they're quite blown away by the size. There is quite substantial room for a family to live without being in each other's pockets.
I met Liana, Troy and Charlie about 5 years ago by the pool, when Charlie was just a little guy. And Charlie and Jordan are like brothers.
My favourite place around here is the pool, and we have the grass area out the front, and we have good places to eat.
On a Friday night there will often be a text message that gets sent out saying it's time for a glass of wine, and our homes become our social hub. That being free to go out and have a drink at a bar is not so easy when you have children. So it's great that we can use our home and our proximity to each other to be able to be social. Monday to Thursday at 3:45, I know that the doorbell's going to ring and that Jordan's going to pick up Charlie, and they're going to go out into the front lawn and kick the footy for an hour or so, or he'll be at Jordan's place. Friends and family who have children who live in a home and live out in the burbs, their children don't have the freedom like Charlie has.
Mondrian demonstrates extremely well the idea of the perimeter building and the courtyard building. It's essentially a series of buildings set within a courtyard setting. Is a single block, and it's organised around a series of what we call finger courtyards. The building itself was organised around a spine which allowed people to walk right through the middle of the site. At the time that we did Mondrian, again, there was a disturbing trend towards gated estates, buildings that were isolated and not part of the fabric of the city, and we wanted to make a building which was part of the fabric of the city and connected in with the city. We developed the idea of the crossover, and it was an idea about trying to implant a terrace environment within an apartment environment in order to make the environment a series of homes rather than just pancakes. So we have a saying here in the office that you live in the sun and you walk in the shade. And using these principles, you can have apartments without air conditioning, naturally ventilated, sunny and with low energy consumption.
So my tips if you're purchasing off the plan would be to research the builder who's building the development, looking at the area in which you're interested in buying in long term. Keep an eye on the project, have a look at what's going on, keep a good flow of communication between yourself, the builder and the architect. Have a look at the facilities within the complex itself. Are there lawns? Are there swimming pools? Is there a park within close distance? There's a lot of what ifs and a lot of guesswork, and you've got to use your imagination because you can't walk into a room and physically see it and feel the warmth of the room. So you've got to look beyond those negatives and draw on it as a positive that you're walking into a property as a first owner of the property. We fell in love with it from the plan to the final build.
When I walked into Liana's apartment yesterday, I was so enthralled and so thrilled to be in that environment, to see how well the apartment actually was being used, how it could accommodate kids. The kids were playing, people were visiting. It was a terrifically friendly home environment. Mondrian was designed 15 years ago, and I still remain extraordinarily excited and pleased about the state of Mondrian. It is in many ways an example of how high density housing can be carried out through the rest of Sydney, and an example of how you can achieve an excellent living environment within high density housing. I'd like to think that in time some of the ideas, or many of the ideas in Mondrian would be taken up in other projects.
We've loved the transformation that it's gone from a couple's pad to now a family home. We've loved being here. We've loved every stage of our life inside this unit and see further stages through here, and we're in absolutely no hurry at this stage to move. We love it. Charlie's part of the community. We're part of the community, and we're really blessed to have that.